Hello everyone, in the 007 film Octopussy came out in 1983. This is in the Roger Moore era of Bond films, and this is definitely a much sillier take on Bond. This is a much sillier Bond film compared to other films. And again, all of them are pretty silly up through here, through this era, but still, this one is more goofy than a lot of others. From the name of the movie to various other things that we'll talk about later in this review, because this movie has so much to it, and I definitely enjoyed this one. It's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so basically, just from the opening sequence, you can kind of tell what kind of Bond film this is going to be. A much more goofy take on Bond, because we open our film with just this chase through this place, and like, you have Bond going from these different vehicles after being captured. So then he goes on this one vehicle, and then he ends up jumping on this other, and then he jumps on this huge truck, which opens up a giant plane, which just stretches out, and then he just flies into a gas station, and that's our opening crawl. I mean, it's more drawn out than that, and it's a lot funnier, but like the slapstick and a bunch of things like that, it's just funny to watch. There's a villain. There's a tuk-tuk chase. There's a freaking train battle. It's fun to watch. There's this one guy who's like a henchman to the main villain, who is like, what he does is he has to be standing higher above whatever he's trying to hit. So he has to be at like a higher elevation above whatever he's trying to hit, which is kind of pointless. But so he has to stand at a higher elevation, and the only way he can do his attack is if he's able to just drop it or swing it downwards, and that's how he makes his target. But he has to be at a higher elevation than whoever it is for his trick to work, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense and would not be very useful if, say, you were fighting outside, just like on the ground, like randomly, just like out in a field somewhere, or say like you're in a place with only one floor. That's not really going to work, but it's still funny anyways. This one is trying to stop basically an atomic bomb from blowing up in this U.S. airport, and they're going to try to frame it to look like the U.S. did it on accident. Therefore, no more nuclear weapons, so this one group can just basically just take over and just march over every other territory and everything. And yeah, and literally there's a character named Octopussy in this movie, and oh my god, I don't like saying that title, but at the same time, it's very funny because I'm an immature teenager. Anyhow, so yeah, I enjoy this movie. I definitely do recommend it. There's lots of good chases and action sequences, but this movie did remind me of a different movie that actually came out last year. Now, this may be a little bit controversial, but Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a lot like this one. Hear me out for maybe 2 or 3 reasons, okay? Let me explain. Okay, because there's a tuk-tuk chase, and there's similar aspects to the chase and everything, and yeah, that's one thing, and there's similar shots, and there's similar aspects to the chase that are similar to the Indiana Jones 5, and there is a train fight, which happens to be very, very similar. Even some of the way it's laid out is the same. Like, there's one shot where Bond is like it's like a side shot of the train. You have Bond like running across the train. Same thing like you have in Indiana Jones 5. And then we have the same sort of battle with the big guy. In this case, in Indiana Jones 5, it was like that, like the general, whatever. In this movie, it's just this big henchman, generic big henchman that doesn't really say a lot, and yeah, so yeah, they do have some similarities, and I just thought that while watching this because I don't know, man, I just thought it was similar, but still, I love this Bond film, and I would definitely recommend it. It's just funny. We have James Bond at one point in this a clown costume. That's basically how we end the movie, or at least the main part of the movie. And, yeah, this is fun. I would get, out of 10, I would probably give it a 7.5. But then again, it's not totally fair it's like, on a Bond movie scale, because I like to rate Bond films on a certain scale, all to their own, because there's a certain breed of action movies, especially the older ones. So I feel like it's nice to put them on kind of like a different status of 1 to 10. But yeah, definitely a 7, 7.5. It's definitely a really good one. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video or any of my other content, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.